This podcast is brought to you by Mapper Forward's new Patreon community, the Global Coffee Think Tank. Check the show notes or head to patreon.com/mapperforward to find out how you can become a member today. Welcome back to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I am your host, Lee Safar, and I am joined by Veronica Ponce. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you, Lee.
Veronica is from the IWCA in Australia. She's the president of the IWCA, and the IWCA is all about trying to elevate women and help women get empowered across the coffee supply chain. And so in today's episode, we want to talk about how does the coffee industry benefit from empowering women? What are your thoughts, Veronica?
Well, first though, you probably have mentioned it on the last episodes, it's about crop productivity and quality. You know, quality is a main thing that we all are seeking. You know, it's driven. You know, if we don't empower women, the quality is going to get lower. You know,
so I'm gonna push back on that, because what I can hear some people thinking who are listening to this is, are you saying that men don't make quality coffee?
No, men are not involved in the quality of coffee. That's the part.
At origin?
At origin, exactly.
Tell me more.
Women are the ones that are selecting the coffee cherries, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ripened ones. Yep. Women are the meticulously ones that are, you know, making sure that the coffee that's going to be processed, it's the correct one. So that's and that's not only the first step. There's, like, you know, the origins. Have you heard about grafting? Women are the one.
So explain people what grafting is, if for those of them who aren't familiar with it.
Yeah, so grafting, of course, is when you mix one cultivar of coffee with another one to make it pest resistant. Right. So in this case, they use I don't know how to explain it.
They use a branch.
You know, and the roots of mainly the Robusta in the side, and they graft it together. Who does that? Women. There's competition for women to do that, you know, to value
Really?
There's competition to value the label of women doing this. So So once again, women are part of the quality.
They are defining quality in coffee.
They are defining quality. If women are not there, and if we think about how many times you need to pass through a field of coffee, you know, to a micro lot, let's say, how many times women have to go through it to pick specifically the red coffee cherries. And, you know, there's men there, but primarily are women on fields.
Like, do you have an estimate of the numbers? Like, is it 60% women, 40% men? Is it higher than that?
70% that women are in the label of coffee. 70%. That's a high number. We're not talking about 20. We're not talking about 10. We're 70%. Okay, so I can probably say that the coffee you're drinking today, the quality came because women being involved. So we need to make sure as an industry to empower women that are on field, because we're seeking for that quality, you know, we're seeking for that.
So some people will push back and they'll say, well, and this is how they've kept women, this logic that I'm about to say is how they've kept women from achieving great things, is they'll say, well, women do such a great job at picking coffee, we should keep them picking coffee. We shouldn't give them opportunities to progress beyond the place that they occupy in the supply chain, because if we want to keep coffee high quality, we've got to keep those women there. What do you say to that?
Well, it's not that we need to keep them there. They are there because that's the work that they have been doing for years, you know. That's their work, and they are passionate about doing the work, or whether that's what they are gonna make them survive or sustain their lives, you know, their communities, their family. So But if you involve them in other areas about coffee, about how coffee is, traded or, processed, all the
you give
other
them other
steps,
opportunities.
you give them other opportunities, and they also make better decisions when taking care of the land. Remember that also women, they take care of land.
Right.
They take care of the plants. So they not only pick cherries, all right? That's just one component of quality. In order for the plant to, thrive, it needs to be taken care from start. So for grafting, that's one of the many first steps. Women is involved there, and so we need to make sure that women knows how the coffee supply chain works. Give them access to that knowledge, because we want quality, we want sustainability in the coffee industry. So it's important to empower women, primarily because in a consumer end, we like to have good quality cup of coffee. So
right.
That's one of the main ones. The other reason is like we need to improve the community's lives. We live in unparalleled worlds. We claim having the best extractions, but people are origin and suffering. So the benefit is to improve communities' lives. It's a human right, if I want to call it, so.
Can you help people understand the difference? Because our society at consuming end is often very different, because we live in much smaller groups, if in a group at all. Usually it's whoever lives in your home is your community, really.
Yeah.
But that's not how it is at origin. No. It's very different. So can you explain that?
No, we're talking about villages. We're talking about, and I'm not telling you that it's one or two families. It could be between 4 or 5 groups of people and families, even more.
Living together.
And how it works is that they migrate together too. They don't leave anyone behind. They move if they need to, move to work in another region because of, the harvest change or the different times in harvesting. They need to move. They move the whole village. They move the whole community.
Yep.
They don't leave people behind, because that's how it is at origin. They are community itself, and they, that's what we need to have an eye of, why we need to empower women, because empowering women improve the community's life. And when we talk about community, we're talking about lots of small holders, small villages, small communities. Yeah. So it's not only about one woman, we're talking about, by empowering one, you are, making sure a community thrives.
And I guess another very important reason for empowering women is because when you empower one woman, she empowers many, many other women.
And you also, it becomes a resilient community too.
Yep.
When women are empowered, they become resilient to any economic shocks, climate change, how women are the ones that suffer from all these, inflation rises, they are the ones that suffer more. So the benefit for the industry will be to keep having women in the workforce too.
So when you say that women suffer more, can you explain that?
Well, it's, we learned from crisis before economic crisis that women have less access to opportunities, and the pandemic has shown us how, the inequalities in our world. Like women had to primarily care, of kids, but also work, juggle that, that's one of the things. So the economic shocks are going to be even harder for women to, get, if they do not empower, they will move to another industry. If we're talking about consumer life, if it's at origin, they are just going to be, they are not going to go.
Again, it's about these barriers.
They don't have a choice, all right? They don't have a choice like we have it at consumer culture, but what it happens is like they don't get empowered. There's no productivity.
Right.
So, and they're not going to see that they're just going to see it as a job they need to do and survive. It's a survival thing.
Yeah.
So we need to empower them and letting them know that how the raw product that they are giving, how it gets to the other end.
And how it's valued.
Yeah. They value their work, you know.
And so I guess the more that we empower women, the more women that get empowered. Yeah. Just by the fact that we're creating that kind of a trend.
Yeah. And, you know, it's usually empower women who gets the initiatives, drives the initiatives of, you know, right. Having gender equality. So, yeah, and it is because we feel related. You know, we want to change, and we see that there's these gaps that they need to be addressed, or these barriers that they need to be taken care of, removed, in order to have, you know, sustainable lives. We're all looking for a sustainable life, but at Origin, that is a different story, you know.
Yeah.
Here we see it more as a, you know, career opportunity. But right. At Origin, more, I feel it's more about having money to pay, you know, for food.
To be able to eat. And look, you know, if we connect the two ends of the supply chain together, a reason that I see and that I have experienced in my life as a woman in coffee, when you empower women on the consuming end of the supply chain, they have access to making decisions that empower women at the origin end of the supply chain. The empathy that's involved, and this is, you know, when you empower women, other women get empowered. Women at the consuming end of the supply chain that are making decisions about what coffee am I going to buy, they are going to more likely not only choose coffees that are delicious, but they're going to go look for delicious coffees that were produced by women.
And that they have a social impact. That's pretty
right.
Same thing, right. You know. We, you know, not only that empathetic, if you want to call it, like we feel empathetic, you know, we know that there's a need.
There's a values-driven reason there, not just a profit-driven reason to do that.
Profit-driven, yeah. You know, you feel that, I have also those barriers here. And then you imagine the barriers that women at Origin goes through. So you make sure if you are responsible of buying a coffee, you try to make it as sustainable, you know, for the women at Origin and for so I feel like the benefit not only is in quality, productivity, improving communities' life, but we're talking about, you know, a sustainable economy, if you want to call it like that. You know, the more we talk, the more we discuss. It's also a sustainable economy. Women here at consuming, and they are, you know, we are empower them to be in positions of to make those decisions, to support women at Origin, and we're empowering women at Origin to know better about how to have access to market, to know more how the coffee
to negotiate, you know, to do all those kinds of things,
to do all the things. So we are actually connecting them. If we empower both ends, you know, they will meet.
Yes,
they will meet, and that's the powerful thing, because women will look to improve their community, to improve their lives. Like you say, we need to look for our personal improvement.
And there have been so many studies done on this. So many studies out there that show that when women are the decision makers, they make decisions that benefit the success of the community, not just the success of the individual. And there's something to be said for that. Other people would say, well, that's, you know, that's a communist endeavor, and, you know, we don't want everyone to be the same. It's not what that is. It's about elevating the community rather than elevating one person over the other. So, Veronica, we have explored an interesting angle of the question from this perspective today when we talked about how does the coffee industry benefit from empowering women. We want to, in the next episode, turn that around a little bit, and what we're going to say is we're going to answer the question, what does the coffee industry look like without women in it at all? Which is going to be an interesting one to explore. I think it'll help make a couple of points. So let's do that. Okay, cool. Peace, love, and peanut butter, everybody. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Map It Forward on Patreon and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.